You're welcome along to the Maroon and White pod. Unfortunately, in one sense, we're going to be talking this evening about the tragic passing of Michael Coleman, who died over the weekend. What a hurler he was for Galway, and we're going to pay tribute to him here because it only felt right to pay tribute to one of Galway's finest hurlers. And I'm joined by Michael Hopper Mcgrath, who would have been a teammate of Michael Coleman, and Sambo Mcnaughton, who would have come up against Michael Coleman as well to pay tribute to him, and sympathies to all the Coleman family, everyone in Abbeynackmoy and everyone associated in Galway GA on the sad passing of Michael. Hopper, a teammate of yours, was it complete shock over the weekend?
Yeah, Paul, look at first of all, condolences to Mary, his wife, and Dara, his son, and Sinead, his daughter, and all the Coleman family. Massive shock when I heard it late on Friday night. You know, Michael was the tower, the strength anytime you look at him, or there wasn't a pick on him. He looked as fit as he ever did. And actually, 3 weeks ago, I was at the same table as him at a social. There was a club all-star social. His daughter was getting an award 3 weeks ago on the Raheen Woods. I actually have to be at the same table with him, and he seemed to be in the best of form. And it's hard to fathom, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Sambo was like all of us for that too when we just heard the passing of the great Michael Coleman over the weekend.
Yeah, it's the same news up in the Glens. Like all hurling people would obviously know who Michael is, and that down. Like I was working in the bar the weekend. Everybody was talking about it, not there. Even when I went down to the Antrim game in Offaly, there was a conversation among all the hurling men. And I would like from the people the Glens of Antrim pass on our condolences, hurling people, to the Coleman family. Like Michael, I'm sure it's been said 1,000 times over the past few days, but Michael was some warrior.
As a person, Hopper, how would you describe Michael?
I suppose, Michael, I suppose I got to know Michael first. We got with the Galway Minors. We played in the All Ireland Minor final in '81. That's when I got to know Michael first. And Michael be from my club, which wouldn't at the time, or probably since, been supplying too many hurlers to county teams to be more nearly in the border with football. And look at what Michael came in first. I suppose he wouldn't have known too many, and he'd be kind of, he was shy. And but as you got to know him, he was real genuine. And he then we won an All Ireland under 21 middle together in 1983. He was centre forward that day. Nicholas English was centre back for Tip, and he had a great game on him. And I think he first came into the Galway senior panel then in '86 in the league games. And back that time, he came from Abbeynackmoy. We'd be training in Loughrea in the winter time at the Timpers Hall doing circuits and a bit of soccer and whatever. And he used to come that time training in a Honda 50. It was about 20 miles distance, and he wouldn't even tell anyone. You'd see the Honda 50 parked at the back of the hall. That was tough going on a winter's night, and hop up and that again and head off home. And he played in the league final in '87 that we beat Clare in the league final, and he was dropped for the championship panel, which was probably, on reflection, it was harsh. And look at it, he came back and he was midfield when we won in '88, and I think for the next 10 years he was one of the main players for Galway. But you never had to worry about Michael Coleman. He was what he was, pure genuine, and he got the respect of everyone, both comrades and the opposition, because he just hurled, and he asked no questions. There was no back chat out of him. He could get a belt and he wouldn't even realise he got it, and he'd give a belt and he wouldn't even realise he was giving it. That's the type he was. But as genuine as the come, that's what he was, that's for sure.
Says something else about his character, Hopper, doesn't it? Like getting dropped in '87 and then to just come back in '88 and fit in seamlessly.
Yeah, I actually remember we were going back to the bus from '87, going back to the hotel, or we're along the canal there or somewhere, and we're looking out the crowd. So the Farrell just passed down by the seat, and we actually spotted Michael Coleman walking, among the crowd. And Farrell spotted him as well. And I said to him, that man should be in this bus. I said, not outside there. And I think, to be honest, he probably realised that too. I felt sorry for him because he was as good as any of us. And just look at, you don't ever get everything perfect when you're picking panels and picking teams. But as you said, it said a lot about the man. He came back, in '88, he was on the team, and he might have been a small bit late developer, but through the '90s and that, and '89, '90, '95, when Galway weren't winning All Irelands, he got 3 All-Stars, which was a reflection of the way he hurled. And he done it consistently, like day in, day out. And I suppose the biggest thing he done is, if you ask me, is when you consider where he brought Eben Atmai. Okay, no one player probably wins anything for anyone, but if there ever was a team that won a championship in '88 and one player had a bigger input into it, I don't know who they were, because he was playing centre back for them that championship, and he scored long range frees, he scored line cuts, he scored penalties, he got points from play, and they beat Athenry after a replay by a point. And I think that was massive for them, and I think that campaign and probably every campaign afterwards, it said everything about him.
Would you come up against him much, Sambo?
Yeah, I did come up against him quite a bit. I obviously have the relationship that Hopper had with him out there. Like, I would have met him, and he actually, I don't know if Hopper was playing that day, he actually broke 7 bones in my face. Totally accidental. It was my fault. We were playing, Ulster was playing Connacht in the Railway Cup in Nolan Park, and we actually beat these. But Michael was going through for a goal, and I dived to block the goal. I was kind of trying to be Captain Courageous, and I dived to block the ball, and I missed the ball. He drove the ball into my face, I don't know if you see it. I got this photograph I called up. I don't know if you can see that in the phone. Can you know?
No, it's kind of hard to
But
see there,
the
no.
face was all swollen up, and Michael done that. And the following day, him and Micheál Murahurty came to see me in hospital and not there. But I would have met Michael in an all-star tour, and we played in Toronto, and it was AstroTurf back then, not 4G or anything. He'd skinned from his knee right up through his backside, up his back, all the skin come off. He could hardly put clothes on the all-star tour. But as a player, like I was asked to pick an all-time team of guys I played with years ago, and I was just, when you asked me to do it, I was looking at it today because I knew I'd him picked. He was in my midfield, like he was as good a midfielder of my generation I ever seen. Like, he's in the same league as the likes of John Fenton and boys like that. I had to mark him a few times, and it was like the tide coming in. There was no point in trying to do anything about it. Like, it was going to come. Like, and he was a colossal man, and as Hopper said there, like, he hurled away as hard as nails, as hard as a man. There was no point in trying to soften him up or anything. That was a stupid thing to be at, because it was just a super player. Never said anything to you, out and done his business, just hurled away and gone on. And I thought like, over since then, I have sat many a day in the bar in Galway. Like, it's common knowledge I have a soft spot for Galway because of maroon and white. My own club, we decided to pick Galway colours, and I was in the meeting at the time we done that, and we picked Galway's colours, and I've always a soft spot for Galway then. But see, from when I quit to now, and championship matches, you'd turn to a guy, said, you know what that Galway team's crying out for? Somebody like Michael Coleman to drive this on or take control of the game or do a bit of donkey work at a time. Michael Coleman was as good a player as I ever walked on a field with or against, roughly.
What was it that stood out the most for you about Michael Coleman, Sambo?
It was one of them players that, like, there was never a day that I can mind, and we played against Galway quite a bit back then. As Hopper tell you, we used to go to Brownstown and play challenge matches on a Wednesday night, and Jim Nelson out there. Our manager seemed to have a good relationship with Galway because a lot of teams wouldn't give us challenge games. But I remember going to Brownstown on a Wednesday night, and I think Brownstown's in Westmeath, isn't it?
That's right, Sambo. Yeah.
They had matches there, and you'd be going down the back of an old van or something and getting out tough, and having to go out and line the likes of Michael Coleman wasn't an enjoyable experience. Like, it was never enjoyable, Mark and Michael, because, like, a good day you'd break even, and that was a good day. You never get the better off him. I never seen anybody getting the better off him ever, because even if you won the first 2 balls, the aggression level went up a bit. You weren't going to win the third and that there, and it was just a real hard nut like to crack, and there was no. He kind of was complete. He was kind of awkward in the way he hurled at times, and he was very athletic, and he was brave. His bravery was just unbelievable. Like, he would put his head in where people wouldn't put their turf spade in, like, and he was just that sort of player. Like, I thought he really, really was one of the key players of that great Galway team that Hopper and them played on. Like, without him, there's a few days I'd had it a lot easier. Let's put it like that. But I just to say, I didn't really know him as a person. On that tour, we had a few sessions with him. The Galway fellas were always very respectful of the Antrim fellas and that there, because, like, we were always the underdogs, and we always felt kind of inferior. Getting into their rooms, everybody were all earning medals, and there was myself and maybe a couple of others. We came from the weaker counties as such, and and Michael always was mannerly and treated you with respect and talked to you, and he either bought you a drink and that there. But he was just a lovely person. But I say, it was a shock for everybody that loved hurling, and anybody that watched our generation. Like, as long as the hurl swung and people talk about Galway and talk about midfielders and Antrim not there, Michael Coleman's name will be mentioned.
Would he be one of the players, Hopper, that you'd try to avoid in training?
Yeah, no, going back to what Sambo was saying there, like, we used to play at Antrim in a lot of we used to play them in the league probably every year back in times, and we'd play them at generally definitely one challenge or two challenge, because the way the championship used to run that time. And I remember we used to play them. We even going up the weekend to the north and staying there and playing a challenge and moving down, and even in Railway Cup matches. But I remember actually Sambo and Michael Coleman having one particular right battle in the middle of the field. I'd say it could be only a challenge match, and I think they were kind of a similar ilk. There was no backing down, but they were just hurl, and it wasn't like mouthing. It was just hurling, like, in one respect to the other as much as the other, and to just get on with it. Like, but Asher, like, the way it was with Michael Coleman, he you see, he probably didn't know his own strength. He was that type of hurler. Like, if you were playing a bit of Mai or things like that, he definitely, you'd imagine he had more than two elbows anyway, because they'd be going everywhere. And like, you could get one in the side or one in the mouth, and it wouldn't be intentional. That's the way he hurled. And like, as far as you hitting him back, it didn't matter, because he wouldn't realise it, and he'd just keep going and going and going. And same way in training, like our midfield that time, there'd be great 15s sides that time in an Ryan. You'd have the likes of Steve Mahan, Pat Malone, let's say Brendan Linsky, different lads, and they'd have massive clashes. But I think any of them that ever had 60 minutes in the middle of the field against them, they knew next day they were in a match, that's for sure. Because I'd say there'd be a few places where there'd be bruises the following day.
Yeah, I can revert that. If you marked Michael Coleman, you knew you were in a game, no matter if it was an out Wednesday night in Brownstown, a Scotland's game or not. That's the thing about him. It didn't seem to, like the odd time we'd have met Galway when thing and that there, when the game kind of had more importance. But if it was an out challenge match, he was the exact same. He never changed. Like, he was one of them type of guys that you thought he was an octopus under a dropping ball. He seemed to have 2 legs and 4 arms, and they were all going and pushing and shoving, and but he was more than just an aggressive hurler. Like I made him. He was one of the people I've taught, one of the hardest men I come up against. But he was a skill level was he was just a very, very good all round hurler. Like, there was no weak links. Like, if you get a guy who's very fast or something, or you could maybe intimidate him, or if you got a guy who's very skillful or something, Michael Coleman was near enough the complete package. Like,
yeah, he was kind of, if there's any present day hurler, kind of, he reminds me a bit. It's probably Jim Byrne for Limerick, the way he'd hold the hurl, the way he'd drive pints over the bar, they'd only go a foot over the bar, and he's nearly, when he played the half back or midfield, like, he'd be in attacking sense, he'd be back, he'd cover the ground, and he just, and there's times you'd wonder how he did cover the ground, because he used to eat fags, and he'd go through it there, I don't know how many.
Oh, Hopper, that's a great call, because he kind of hurls like Dermot Burns, doesn't he? And
he does, yeah.
He looks a bit like him. Now, I've never thought of that before.
Yeah, he's similar.
He holds a hurl the same way and everything.
And he rifles these pints. They nearly stay at the same height the whole time from the leave hurl. He's doing that kind of thing.
I've never
Yeah.
thought of that before. Him and
Yeah.
Willie Donahue in a required battle, wouldn't they? You'd have paid money
Sorry?
to watch that. Him and Big Willie Donahue at midfield in a good battle.
Oh, now you said it, yeah. That'd be a clash for the ages, no doubt.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
have
yeah,
paid money in to see that.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he stayed hurling in for an awful long time. Like actually, our club, we played them in a junior final in 2017s, and both of us were well gone past 40 at that stage. You know, he stayed going to his junior final, and he'd be still the same old thing. He wouldn't be able to cover the ground more than the rest of us at the time, but he'd still be dogged, and he'd be just giving it everything. You know.
Yeah, but he had that natural strength that not out of a gym, or he didn't need to wear a tight t-shirt or mother care t-shirt to make his muscles look bigger. He was wiry, and he was like a thorn bush. Like he just that he just seemed to be that sort of player. And and I would have loved to see more of him in that there. Did he ever get into management or coaching or anything? No.
He was involved in his own club with teams. Actually, he got involved with Leitrim there when the leaky record. I think in 2019 he was involved coaching them, the Leitrim County team. Yeah, but he was involved in teams with his own club. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was with
So he'd be doing an awful lot of,
06, was it? Was he with Loughrea in 06, did I see? I seen they had a tribute to him. He would have been involved.
Yeah, he could have been. Yeah, he could have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the Coleman family, gone through a good bit already, because Michael lost his younger sister about 12 or 13 years ago, and her husband in a car accident, as well. So they've gone through a fair bit of tragedy.
Yeah, life can be cruel. Life can be very cruel.
Definitely.
With it, Hopper, was it true about him that he used to have a smoke before most games, then that he would have went out and played?
To be honest, it is, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't do it. He might go to the toilet and have a few puffs, it was funny, just everything you'd say not to do, and I'd say, he smoked a fair few of them during the day as well, and he'd have a great, he really did smoke them as well, the way he pulls them and dragged them. But going back to what Sambo said again, I suppose he had such natural kind of fitness and strength, and the way he was made up, it didn't seem to in any way take from his game, or when he'd be in training sessions, he'd be up there at the top with everyone, and I suppose he had a mighty mind. I suppose he found it hard to establish himself, and he didn't forget that. And he stayed longer at the top level of county than maybe other players did. He was still going strong for Galway. Like, he kept Galway for league success in '96, and he'd been 33 years of age at that stage. Still played for another couple of years. So he really emptied the tank for Galway, to be fair, and got the most out of himself. And he'd be playing through league and playing through and everything. There'd be no such thing as a break or I'm tired or whatever.
Yeah, and that All-Star tour I was telling you about, I was a replacement then, I think, or something. Me and him, because we smoked, I smoked as well. So we weren't. They were before the days where you had the protein things for breakfast and dinner, and you'd an old smoke at half time and out there, and lit up and went to sat with your legs crossed and out there. And you always wanted somebody to be like you, because you didn't want to be the only lunatic smoking in the van. So me and Michael kind of flocked to each other at that time.
Would you head off somewhere, Sambo, or would you?
I don't know if you headed off then. I can't mind, but I can mind that me and him smoked in that there, and there was very few people. Obviously, there are very few people that smoke. Anybody with any sense that doesn't smoke, but fortunately, they were the days in that there. And I think it was maybe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Joe Cooney had a win of oil drags at the time too. And outside the bar, like, we weren't the only ones, Joe was running around, and I think he maybe had a cigarette floating around at that time too. And I don't think he get him in trouble or anything.
No, it might be one late at night.
Yeah. I think that's maybe it, because I don't think Joe bought them. I think me and Michael bought them, and Joe helped us to smoke them.
You have it there now, Sambo.
Yeah. All right. Great memories. Great memories all together.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there one favourite memory, Hopper, that you have with Michael, if you're to look back at it?
Just trying to think now. I suppose there isn't really, because he never kind of, he was always kind of, what will I say, a 9 out of 10 man. He was kind of didn't, he never kind of below that. But I suppose we got to an All Ireland final in '93, probably unexpectedly. That year, and I think with a lot of new lads in the panel, and I think he played probably through that championship, and no one seemed to know which injury, with shoulder injury, and went through matches, and the type of person he was, he keep it to himself, and he should be giving it everything. But like I'd say, what you would admire about him them couple of years when you lads came into the panel, it wasn't that he'd say much or say anything, but all they had to do was, probably, when they'd go out in the field or they'd go out hurling or they'd watch him training, that was enough. And I think that's the most thing, I think, from like anyone, there's came into a panel with him, they learned from him, and they learned how to apply themselves. He mightn't have done everything right as regards preparing your body right, but he definitely did it on the field where it mattered, or done it in training, and I suppose that's what you'd always respect him for and think of him for.
It is interesting because we had Sir Farrell on a few weeks ago where he was talking about the tough training he used to put you through up in Athenry, and he was saying Michael could have a fair few, say, cigarettes before it, but he'd still be up near the top of the queue when you were going through that tough pre-season.
Oh yeah, no, he'd no, he definitely dug it out, like, the head he'd be down, giving in, and the harder to probably get, the more he wouldn't give in. And I never saw him giving in anyway in a training session or in a game. And I suppose he had a wonderful attitude, to be fair.
Is there one performance, Sambo, that you see Michael Coleman give that stood out for you?
No. To pick one out would be a disrespect to him, because as I've said before, and Hopper said there, it was never maybe I'm looking through rose-tinted glasses, I understand that, but like Michael Coleman's one of the fellas of my generation, was never a 6 or 7 one day and a 10 the next day. It was always a 9 or a 10 every day. I never seen him dip or change. He just seemed to control everything he got there. But you're talking about memories. Like when I said about that thing, like I spent 5 days in the hospital, and he came in that morning, him and Michal Morhartig, and I can remember Michal saying, "Jesus, Sambo, I seen you looking better." And I tell everybody that ruined my good looks. I was good looking before them, but and Michael, and then when I went to the All-Star tour, because of that injury, me and him became not friendly, but very acquainted. And maybe the smoking thing, a bit of soulmates or something, or I don't know. But like I would have utmost respect for him, and so would every hurling person in Antrim that ever watched my team play, or even out there that would know who they are. Like he was one of our favourites, because I think every man, when they seen Michael Coleman hurl, that's how they'd want to hurl. That's how they'd want their sons to hurl. Like he was close to, everybody loves that style of player, like Roy the Rovers, that aggression and that athletic thing about him and that there. And I think that like most people that follow the game of hurling have a certain mindset, and if you were wanting yourself to hurl like that, you'd want yourself to hurl like Michael Coleman, or your sons to hurl like Michael Coleman, or that there had been, he was everybody's favourite, like, and the fact that he wasn't a dirty player, and he wasn't a mouthy, he's carried himself very well, and a great advertisement for his club and his family and Galway too. And we're lucky to have somebody like that, And I would say that I don't know much about the club hurling, but I would say it been that for the club too. I would say every game, every play, he just seemed to be that sort of person. And maybe someone can tell me, but I would say no matter if it was an old league game and club game in Galway or something, Michael would treat it with utmost respect and treat to his mark with utmost respect. Like, there was never I don't think Michael ever would have crossed a white line to give a 6 or a 7 performance or a 5. He would always wanted to give it a 9 or a 10, like, and that's just the image I have of him. I didn't know the man all that well, except from his hurling, but I can say, and out of my generation, he's one of them players that you would have the most respect for, and so would every Antrim and Ulster hurling person there is. We all knew the name Michael Coleman.
Is it a week like this, Hopper, where you start to think about the crack and everything you had during your time playing with Galway?
It would be like, I suppose, you probably those times moves fast. Everyone, we're all caught up in our own thing or whatever you're doing, work and whatever teams you're involved with yourself. But like when you see like Tony Keady would be in 2017, like, and I'd be the same year as both lads, and with a further minor, under 21 senior, all up along together, like, and when you look at the two of them, you think they were indestructible. And I suppose, you look back at the times, and you'd be, at the time you'd be all you were, you'd be trying to just win as much as you could, and we lost more than we won, but we won a bit too. But I suppose the thing you remember most is, the trips we had, I suppose, the couple of trips we had and the couple of All-Star tours we had, and, things down training, and, even as lads getting sick, it was like Barrel often done some summers there, he might do 20 out of 23 evenings, whether that was right or wrong, I don't know, but that's what we done. And, lads, just out to the flags, and you'll be doing maybe out to the 21 and back, out to the 40 and back, out to the 50 and back, out to the inline and back. But there was no scientific approach to it at the time, but still it's probably brought people on, and it made people like, dig in, and them are the kind of things you probably think about, and different lads and how they approach it. And you'd have another few lads, we won't mention names, there'll be kind of, there'll be kind of, the pulling hamstring and not even to get a break from it, or there'll be something that come up, like, but Michael, I'd say, wouldn't be one of them, he'd be just purely committed to the cause, and he wasn't the type in the dressing room that would have too much to say, Mike. He'd be in a corner there and he'd be doing his own thing, but then there was no need probably to say much to the likes of him, because he didn't need probably any geeing up, or he didn't need any talking to, like, because you knew what you were going to get every day he went out. And I suppose it was mighty to have that set, that you could realise that, and whoever's involved in the teams, that reassurance, like, you knew he was going to bring everything to the table, and he was going to leave it all on the field. But look,
Hopper, as a coach, I know you've done a lot of coaching now, and congratulations on all your success for your daughters in the club and all. But here,
thanks.
Would Michael been a dream to coach? He'd have been a dream. You wouldn't have had
100%. Yeah.
You wouldn't have had to look in the car park that night to see if he was going to turn up, or you wouldn't have to, if things were getting tough, you wouldn't, like, I would imagine it'd have been such an easy person to coach. That there'd been no drama, no crap, or
you're 100%.
Physio bench wouldn't have been there. Like, he would have classed that as a weak. He would have classed that as a weakness to go to the physio bench, where we all played with guys that seemed to love the physio bench, and they spent every night in it.
But like you're 100% right. You'd love to have him, when you're training the team, because nearly his actions he'd explain a lot for you, and he'd just put it this way, he'd lead people by saying nothing. That's what I'd say about.
He would made the guy that's 50-50 or so. I always think there's people that got the guy that brings mediocre to the table. It would have made him feel very uncomfortable. The person that brings mediocre to a team, or Michael would have made that person feel very uncomfortable.
That now you have it, like, no need for whoever be involved to say anything. That nearly said, he just he was good to have around the place. Yeah, he was good to have around the place. Yeah, definitely.
Is it nice, Hopper, in one sense, to go tomorrow as a team to pay your respects?
I think it is. I suppose, it's nice probably to be all there together, and I suppose you wouldn't meet some people, and I know it's not the occasion you want to be meeting players you hurled with, but I suppose to show respect for the family, and the big family, the Colemans in it, and they're all involved in probably GA down in different forms, like Matty, his brother hurled football for 10 or 12 years, an older brother, and they'd be great community people, and great, I'd say, to the parish of Mcgrath. So I think it is nice just to go as a team and commiserate with the family and just to be thinking about him. And look, he's on our minds for the last few days, and look, it's very hard on them. And I suppose the big thing is to have a good support. There is a big family of them in it, and there'll be a good support, I'd say, around Mcgrath and that. And just, it's sad, but that's life. And just, I suppose they will get, they will get help over from all around them, their family, and that brings them through that. God.
Yeah. I know myself, I'll light a candle for him tomorrow. Like, I definitely will.
It feels
Okay.
important on a week like this to celebrate his career in one sense, because like we've been talking about him here for the last half an hour, but it felt like a time to celebrate him given the player he was.
Yeah, from my point of view, whenever you ask me, like, I'm not a great one for, I know I've done a few of these not there. I'm not a great one for speaking on cameras or things because I feel always awkward. You're always scared of saying something wrong and out there. But I wanted to do this because Michael, to me, he was such a great player, and maybe he didn't get the highlights of some of them, that great Galway team and out there. But as far as hurling man goes, and he would always been in the conversation. Like, he's like, as a hurler, I can speak for him. Like, I would know, I would love to mark a hell of a lot of other hurlers before I picked Michael Coleman to mark. I would, if you had any sense, you would try to fight him as much as possible in your career, like, because he was, as I say, he brought everything to the table and everything you wanted in a player. Like, he's like, I say, like, and as myself a bit of coaching, he just seemed, when you get them sort of players, they're special. They don't come every waltz round. Like, they're just special in every way, that you don't have to say anything to them. You don't have to coax them. There's no drama. Like, now, if you're a manager, you nearly need to be a babysitter, a marriage guidance counsellor, and a social worker and everything. And out there, where Michael Coleman would have been in a midlife. So if you had 15 Michael Colemans, you could have went places. And as I keep saying, from all the hurling people in Ulster, we pass on our condolences to the Coleman family and the club and the Galway people. Like, he'll be remembered in Galway forever. Like, he would have to be, like, because I don't mind a better midfielder in Galway, to be honest. Like, when you say Tony Keady, a hard man, and so he was in that great half-back line, and Hopper and Joe and them boys running around. But, like, I would always have classed him as a midfielder, and I struggled to find a better one in my generation. Like, we had some great midfielders in my generation of Kieran Carey and Fenton and people like that, but Michael Coleman was in that conversation too.
Absolutely, and it was a lovely tribute by you both, lads. And again, just before we finish, condolences to all the Coleman family and all Michael's friends and family. A true warrior of Galway hurling, and may he rest in peace. And thanks a million, Hopper and Sambo, for coming on to the podcast to pay tribute to Michael.
Pleasure.